Hey folks, how you all doing? Hope you're good. This is Wanluv Entertainment. My report on radio. Okay, so let's talk radio. Let's talk radio. Okay, let me tell you then my story, a little story, how I got into radio, or I got interested in radio. So when I was young, passing matric, went to Vets Technicon. At that time, it was Vets Technicon. All I knew was that I needed to study public relations or something like communications for me to be a broadcaster, to be a professional broadcaster, or to work in the broadcasting. Cool. That was back then. And then so I couldn't make it at Vets at the time. Maybe it was something to do with finances, or I don't know. So I went to Pretoria to stay in Pretoria, to hustle there in Pretoria, because I'd finished school. So and so ideally to Pretoria was that I would be able to actually go straight to university, to study at UNISA. And fast forward, I was able to enroll there for communications. But how it came to me was that there's a Garankuwa Hospital, what used to be Garankuwa Hospital, because I stayed in Zone 6 in Garankuwa, and then it was just adjacent to Medunsa. So Garankuwa Hospital, which is now called Dr. George Makari, is just alongside, it's just neighbors with Medunsa, with what used to be called Medunsa. I hope you remember that institution. Yeah. So and I saw an advert, and they were looking for presenters as they opened the radio station there, an in-house radio station called Dr. George Makari Hospital Radio. So, this is my moment, of course. I can't miss this for anything in the world. And I got in. I was auditioned. A gentleman there was a general manager, was the manager of the station, by the name Mr. Charles, and may God bless and rest his soul. Gave me a shot, auditioned me, and he liked me, and he partnered me with a lady called Sasa, who was doing a show on Saturdays. Beautiful show on Saturdays. I think the name of the show was called, I don't know what it was called, but then I later changed it because she left. A few months later, she left to pursue her. I think she was also with Medusa, so she was now going to work somewhere in Northwest or somewhere else. And then I took the show. I ran the show by myself. Right? So, and I named it the Therapeutic Lounge. Wow, 6 to 9 on Saturday. So I did that show. Did everything there. News. I was also doing news and research and producing the whole thing, the whole band. Okay. And it was exciting. I mean, you can imagine, this is something I wanted to study at university, and then now I'm getting it to actually start working on it, because at university you would actually work at campus radios. So that was my idea, that from there you just go and work in campus radios. But there I was doing it. I was still pretty young at that time, and the experience was amazing. I learned so much about radio because we were doing it. I remember now, the Dr. George Makari is actually the second largest hospital in the country after, Krisani Baragwana Hospital. So, and I went there. It was awesome. It was fantastic. You learned so much. And then a few years later, and I wasn't getting paid because this was just a volunteering. But how best would you be able to volunteer on work that you really are passionate about? So you can imagine I had a time of my life. It was exciting. It was very exciting. Okay, cool. Fast forward, came to Johannesburg, got a job in Johannesburg. I had to stop broadcasting there. That was painful because I now had to find work in Johannesburg. Got a list of all the radio stations, SABCs, commercial radio stations. I got a list of all of that. I followed up programs managers. Nothing was coming, year after year. But because I was working full time, I think that's another thing. I wasn't desperate that much to really be in radio because I'd already proven myself for 3 to 4 years while I was there. Anyway, so that feeling of it'll come at the right time. So I kept on sort of like running after all of this, and then so you see the T-shirt I'm wearing, Kaya FM. This one of the stations that's quite prominent here, commercial. I'd love to join. I've been running after that. I'm trying to get in and sending demos and things of that nature. You don't give up. You don't, because here's the thing about us and entertainment is that age does not really matter. Look at actors, look at musicians, look at radio broadcasts. You can do this work up until you're old, up until you can never even work or talk or whatever. It depends on you. It really truly depends on you. So no rush. Anyway, you always kind of have this thing of God's time. God's time is always the best time. So yeah, that's my story, man. And I'm excited. There's so much I've learned about radio and so much that's interesting. And then, so tell me, tell us about your story. Are you? Is this something you want to do? Is this something you've done? Have you been a DJ before, a producer, or anything of this nature? What are your aspirations? If at all, do you want to crack it into that, or what do you feel? What are your best moments of radio? What do you understand radio to be? Let's talk about it. This is Wanluv Entertainment Radio, and before we talk about other people who are in it, the prominent presenters and the producers and everything else that's going on, development and all of that stuff, let's talk about ourselves. Let's talk about our stories. What really makes us love radio over and above just listening to radio. So yeah, Wanluv Entertainment, it is what it is. Thank you. That's my story. What is your story?